the toys embryo, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet, we set the pace. Elite with the heat in this plastic race. ToyLeet, not just a name, we're the culture, the vibe, the collecting flame. Click, snap, pose, it's more than display. We stack with style, redefining play. Custom builds, epic drops, from stream to shelf, we never stop. ToyLeet, it's not just toys, it's legacy we stack. ToyLeet's the movement, and we're never looking back.
What's
Yo,
up,
man,
man?
what's up, dude?
What's going
How
on?
you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Been a long, hot week.
I think we're live. Oh man, it has been smoking up here for sure. New York, I don't think it's been this hot in a long time.
Not for this many
Not
days.
consistently.
Yeah, not for this many days. That's for damn sure.
Exactly.
Tomorrow's supposed to be a high of
this week-
65, though, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think we're supposed to have like 68 over here, so that's good. So I closed the chat window out on my side, Ed, so you're running point on that this week. Yep. But trying to get used to this new tool here. I think I got the hang of it this week. We'll see how true that is.
See how it goes.
Exactly. Well, I didn't repeat the intro yet.
Yeah, you did. You're doing good.
We were only 5 minutes late, but that was just because we were kind of bullshitting in the back. It wasn't a technical glitch or anything this time. Fired off as we expected and desired. So we're rocking and rolling.
That's right. You're doing good.
Yeah, man. What's up in your world, dude?
Just living life. Took my daughter up to the mall today because she wanted to. We haven't done anything for her birthday because she was in South Carolina visiting my other daughter for her birthday, and then she got back on the weekend, and she had a whole bunch of things going on. So today I took the day off, told her I'd take her up, and we went out for lunch and just looked around, and she picked up a few things she was looking for. So, and I checked out the toy department at Target, but there was shit there, man. No.
I was gonna say I've been stopping occasionally. I had to stop and grab a couple things from Target. So I did do some hunting, as they say. But I'll be honest. The thing I was looking most for was the Hulkster, but I wasn't finding any of him in the stores. And with his passing last week, I'm sure his stuff is going to be hard to find for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of clearance at my Targets, man. A lot.
They were starting to do that today at the Target that I went to. There was just tons of like shopping carts full of like stuff that was pulled off the shelves. So
yeah,
but there wasn't like Marvel Legends. They had 2 different Spider-Man figures. Like 18 of each of them, and then the only G.I. Joe that was there was the hell was it? Cobra Commander, the retro carded one. That was the only one. So it was.
I did get something. I already stashed away. I think in here somewhere. Heck, I don't even know where it is. I thought I put it in there, but I guess I didn't.
I got. What'd you get?
I picked up a WWE Mattel figure. Yeah. It's a Carlito. It's like a Legend throwback re-release type thing.
Yeah.
For Carlito, I picked him up. He was on clearance for like $11, so that was a win. They had a bunch of these on clearance at the stores, but I got this for Son of Wonder because he's a huge He loves Carlito, and he recently got let go from the WWE, so I figured figures on clearance. He's no longer wrestling there. Yep. I better snag that up while the license is hot. Yep. So
I got this guy, G.I. Joe Classified Footloose. I put a different hat on.
Oh, I think I saw that. That's a Punk with Toys live in person, right?
A Punk with Toys actually gifted that to me, being the nice guy that he is. He is Mr. Moneybag. So I mean, when we were at Joe Fest, he was talking about how he had ordered one from this one place, and that he thought that it got lost in the mail. So he ordered another one, and that one was at the house already. So I said, well, if the other one
Oh,
shows up, I'll get it from you because I'll never
yeah.
find him out here in the wild, you know. And got back to Joe Fest, and he's like, hey, I got both of them now, so it's all yours. And then I told him how much he wants for it. Like, no, it's on me. I'll give it
Oh,
to you.
that's awesome.
So yeah,
That's
I was pretty
awesome.
excited about it. Footloose is one of my favorite characters because, like, when I was in the service, he wears basically the same uniform that I wore when I was in. So
Gotcha. Good deal. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't pick up anything this week. For those tuning in for the very first time, before we hit up the chat, get the chat ready real quick. I'm going to do a little intro on what we are, where we come from. We get together. He's Ed, Axion Figs. I'm Travis Fitzgerald, or Travis, Mr. Wonderful. I was about to say my whole name, just put myself out there,
yep,
but
you're
you
used to
know,
introducing
um,
yourself at work, huh?
that's what it is. That's what it is. Seven and a half weeks in, and I'm used to introduce myself by full name. I just started to come out, but yeah. We get together every week, normally on Tuesday nights, but this week, just like last week, we postponed it to tonight. Kind of invade on other people's Wednesday nights, but mainly because we had some stuff we had to take care of, and felt it was better suited to push to tonight. But we get together weekly. We talk about pickups. We talk about stuff going on in the community, general things. We talk about the passion of which it is action figures and collectibles, and then adjacent. And then what we do is we go through the shout out from the Crick. We do some weekly news focused heavily on independent toys. There's other guys that talk about the mainstream stuff. There's a ton of channels out there that did a whole bunch of San Diego Comic Con stuff. We'll talk about that shortly and bore you some more with all of that. And then we always have a main topic every week, and the main topic, focuses on something a little different, and unique from other streams. We try not to just regurgitate what you hear others talk about with their, pre-recorded stuff and focus on that. Try to do a little unique thing. So this week we'll be talking. I think it was Mandela Madness, right? Mandela
Yep.
Effects with toy and toy adjacent situations. So we'll go through that, talk a little bit, and then we interact with the chat. And speaking of the chat, Ed, if you want to hit that up.
Yeah, real quick. It's good though this week and last week because Kenzo is on a break from his Wednesday show because of his new job that he's got. So we're not stepping
Okay,
on
good
his
deal.
toes at least. So
Oh, that's a win.
yep. We have Dave Dimensions in the house. What's up, Dave? Another New Yorker. And we have now made it Toy Tube official as Nolan is here with us saying hello to all of us.
Congratulations,
What's up,
Nolan,
Nolan?
on your armies of Ashmore. Those
Yes.
rock solid brick figures. They're huge weights.
And Mudhorn Station Ian's here with us. What's up, Ian? And my buddy Jeff from Skunkworks Studios is here. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking
Yeah,
go.
brother.
Yes. Nolan's saying his armies of Ashmore finally showed up. Was definitely worth the wait. Yeah, I just checked him out at a couple of the shows I was at, man. Yeah. And he's saying his second oldest starts her new job tomorrow. Proud dad here. Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. Good deal.
Yeah, so
So,
everybody's talking about all the San Diego Comic Con stuff in the news. So, it's kind of one of
yeah.
those things, man. I'm actually kind of like tired of it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just been like since last Wednesday or Thursday, it's just been nonstop, just flooded with
Well,
news.
it's been Wednesday. It was Wednesday, right? Because I
Yeah.
was on the show with you Wednesday,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had up over on Instagram, and it just popped up and refreshed, and I was seeing some of the pre-show
Yep.
like release night, pre-night release, whatever
Yep.
preview night is what I think it is, and I was seeing a bunch of the Mattel. Oh man, I'm getting a bunch of background noise. I don't know if it's me or you, dude.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, it must be on my end. Yeah, so there was a sorry, a lot of feedback. Give me a second. I'm gonna kill this headphone,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna switch real quick. Hold on.
It's all right. So while he's doing that, the only news that is I saw
There we
really
go.
important today was Mezco Toys released their Superman action figure from the new movie. And he comes with a crypto. I think he was 115 on Mezco, and he's like 100 and 120 or 125 on Big Bad Toy Store and Nerdzoic and stuff like that. So
Okay.
good looking figure. Crypto looks pretty nice. He's got some a little bit of articulation, but
Yeah, there wasn't much news. There was a lot of stuff coming out of. I mean, when I say much news, there wasn't a lot of independent toy news. There was some stuff. I haven't gone back and watched some of the stuff. There are some streams out there where folks captured like the independent toy lines from San Diego Comic Con, conversations with Spiro and the guy from what's that company called, Fist.
oh yeah,
And there was a show I haven't caught up. I have it in my to watch later stuff, but there's a bunch of stuff like that, and there was a ton of information that came out. I mean, I'm a huge Mattel WWE Ultimate collector. Some really cool stuff coming out from them. I did see one thing which I'll show off next week. A Captain Planet figure I
oh yeah,
saw
Captain
announced the
Planet.
last couple days.
Yeah.
Looked really cool.
And
There's a few things.
is Savage Crucibles having an in stock sale this Friday, right? What time does
Yeah,
that
I was going
start?
to call that out. So they said that it's going to happen between, I believe, 6:30 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern. And the way it works is that they're not going to announce the official time. They have a limited stock sale for, meaning you can only buy a maximum of 2 figures per, SKU, I believe,
Yeah.
for the first 2 hours of the sale. Once the 2 hour sale window is over, it's kind of like free roam. They did communicate that they will not be combining shipping. So if you're one of those people that like gets their minimum orders they could get, during the first 2 hours, and then comes in and tries to slam some additional items after the time, it's going to ship. You're going to pay the dual shipping for it, but you'll
Yeah, that'd
guarantee
be
yourself the supply.
that'd be an absolute nightmare for them trying to go back through and stick everybody's order together. So, real quick, we got a couple of comments in the chat. Action Joe Figs is here. What's up, Action Joe Figs? What's going on, man?
Oh,
And Ian saying SDCC for him was just kind of meh. Nothing really grabbed him. The only thing I really saw coming out of SDCC was, as Action Joe Figs saying here, the Battlestar Galactica stuff looks really, really good. I can't remember the name of the company doing it. And then, of course, Fresh Monkey Fiction stuff with their
oh yeah, they got a
NPCs
ton
and
of
stuff
stuff.
like that is looking really
The
good. So.
NPCs, yep. Yeah, which is interesting because you've got Valaverse doing some NPC stuff with their kind of side characters.
Yep.
You've got Big Bad or Fresh Monkey doing that stuff, and then you also have that figure company wrestling stuff that has that stuff
Oh
coming
yeah.
out
Yep.
too.
Yep.
So, or that they've
Yeah,
got
the,
it.
the
I
one
gotta
that
kick these
the one that
headphones off.
Frankie always
Sorry.
one that Frankie's always promoting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, Allison. And what's up, GI Jetman? Thank you too for stopping by. Also, yeah, I'm getting an echo from your headphone now. I don't know if anybody else is hearing the echo, but I can hear it. I think you fixed it. Are you still getting feedback?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn the audio up a little bit. How about now? I'm getting static. I don't know if anybody else is here. I'm gonna exit. I don't know if it's maybe my thing to my connection. So I'm gonna exit this. And I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're not sounding really good. So Nolan saying for him for SSDCC was the Jada Daphne, the Motu Dragstore, and the Lobo. Oh yeah, Lobo looked good, dude. And I'm really excited for the next wave of Scooby Doo figures. Waiting for the first wave to come in, of course, but the second wave looks great too. Creepy Space Kook was one of my, or Kooky Space Kook, whatever he was called there, was one of my favorite villains from them. Yeah, so Action Joe's here in the static.
So they're hearing the static. So it must be something on your end, Ed. That if I'm, because I'm, maybe it's on. Maybe it's I don't know if you have a fan blowing or something.
I don't have anything going on. Hold on a second. I'm going to back out. Entertain the people.
Yep. So yeah, there's the static's gone. It's all Ed. It's all Ed all the time. It must be. Definitely him. I don't know what he's doing. So I tried it on my speaker. I tried it on my different headphones. So I'm blaming Ed on it for sure. We'll get it. We'll get it remediated though. Just give it a second. In the meantime, for me, one of the big joys, and the reason we're talking about San Diego Comic Con and those things is because we're not going to cover the news like we normally do. So
Can you hear me?
I can, and it sounds better. I'm not hearing the static right now.
Interesting. Must have been a
Yeah,
bad
something to do.
connection with the
Maybe if you.
website.
Well, what I do know is with this tool that we use today, I find that sometimes if I switch the audio once I'm in the studio,
Yeah.
that it kind of like messes it up, and you got to back out and come back in to get
Yeah.
it to reconfigure it
Yeah.
properly. So maybe you unplugged or adjusted,
I
and
did. I changed it once I got on. A couple minutes
there it
before you
is.
popped on. So
That's probably
yeah.
what it was. Okay. So I was just telling everybody that, this week, normally on the show, as we alluded to, we have the shout out, we have the news, we have our main topic, we have our ToyLeet or toilet segment. This week, we're not doing an official newscast because, there's a ton of people talking things, and I want to cover the independent stuff and give it more of a platform next week. Some of the things like the Captain Planet and different things like that. I want to cover that when eyes aren't so exhausted from all of the San Diego Comic Con stuff. So we'll come back
Yeah.
next week and bring the news in. Hopefully, those that saw some things at the San Diego Comic Con enjoyed it. Look forward to
There was a lot of
those
stuff, right?
releases
It was
myself.
actually to the point of overwhelming. I wasn't,
That's what it was.
overly excited about a lot of it, but it was still like every day it was just constantly like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I imagine a lot of people are feeling that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exhausting being there for a lot of people. So I know that being there is one thing, but then there's also the whole being remote and looking at because you get 10 people, 20 people that you follow posting the same stuff from a different angle,
You'd
and you're
probably
just seeing
actually
it,
see
and
less actually being at the show than you would as far as the new
probably.
releases go than you
I
would
mean, at
being
PowerCon, I
outside.
missed a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at PowerCon, I mean, granted, I had a booth, so I wasn't walking around the whole time, but there was definitely a lot of stuff
I
that I
walked
missed.
around all over the place at PowerCon and I still miss stuff. So
Right. So, that said, we're not going to cover the news this week, but we are going to go into the show, and we are going to go into specifically talking about the main topic, which we'll be getting to in a moment. But this episode, we're going to explore 5 major Mandela Effects moments that are either in the toy world or kind of parallel to the toy world. Times when collectors may have sworn that something was a certain way, but as it turns out, it wasn't quite. So we'll be diving into some nostalgia, memory, kind of toy packaging or misprints and more. Each slide we're going to kind of present a different Mandela effect and toy memory. So we'll cover that during the main topip. But
I gotta
before we
say,
get there,
our hair looks good in this art, dude.
I'm getting better. Uh, you know, um, what I will say is the shout out from the Crick this week. We'll go over to you on that one, Ed. And I think I got the audio here. See
Let's
if I
see.
can figure it out.
Down by the creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test.
Man, shout out from the Crick this week goes to Plastic Skulls. Plastic Skulls, he's on YouTube, but I don't think he does many videos. So the best place to find him is on Instagram. But we're shouting him out because he does some awesome pictures, awesome photography, and he's always in everybody's chats, always being very supportive. Every stream I'm in, as far as the toy community goes, I see Plastic Skulls always popping up. So shout out to Plastic Skulls. If you're not following him on Instagram, go over there and give him a follow. Check out his photography, and he'll always like you back and give you just as much support as you give him. So
Awesome. Thank you, Plastic Skulls. Appreciate your support, brother.
And real quick, let's just pop into the chat, and then we'll hit the main topic.
Yeah,
Jack
I'm getting a
Detman,
little bit of feedback again from you.
yeah, I
I
know.
don't
I'm
know if
picking it up again.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if my cord is messed up. So 'cause I
Okay.
just bumped my cord again, and I think my cord's messed up.
Gotcha.
Jetman saying when he was a kid, he had a huge crush on Daphne from Scooby Doo. That's not a bad thing. And Action Joe Fix saying Factory Entertainment. That's who it is doing Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Nolan saying he was a Velma guy. And we got Payne's Toy Sample saying, "Hey kids, what's
Oh,
up,
hey,
family?
Payne.
How you doing,
What's up,
brother?
Aaron? Yeah. How you
Long time
doing?
no see."
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
Hopefully
All
doing
yours.
well. Awesome. Yes. Well, all mine. This is us. This is us. This is main topic. We're right on in.
I meant
Uh,
you got the slides. You're on. You're rolling. Let's
awesome.
roll.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into the main topic this week. Call it the express mode. Not making you wait 3 hours like some people do, but we'll jump right in, right? So we're gonna be exploring the Mandela effect in toys, kind of toy adjacent. Actually, hold on, time out, roll it back. There was one thing I wanted to point out before we go into this.
All right,
Let's
we'll
roll this
point it
back.
out.
I saw Fantastic Four this past weekend,
Yeah. What'd you think?
and then I watched Superman this weekend.
What'd you think? Which first? Let's start with which one did you find more enjoyable?
That's a tough question
All right.
because I
Which
hate.
which one
Because
would
I
you watch again?
hate. I absolutely, incredibly hate DC. Like it's never been my thing. Batman's a bad guy. Joker's
I
the
know how you
best
feel
superhero
all
in the
about the
world.
DC universe, there, pal.
But
Batman is the
but
best good guy
Superman,
ever.
but Superman is not my guy. No, I'm definitely a Marvel guy, so I lean to Marvel. I won't spoil, so pause to anybody watching that thinks I'm going to spoil. I will not give away any of the story. I will just give my perception of the content. Because everybody dies in everything, and that's how every movie goes. Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not telling you anything, guys. Really, I enjoyed Fantastic Four. I saw that one first. I am biased towards MCU. While there has been a lot of clunkers over the years for MCU, I am definitely one of those people that takes off my "it's supposed to be this way" glasses and hats. It's supposed to have been this, and it was supposed to be that. So I've watched things like The Eternals, and I've gone, okay, it's The
Yeah.
Eternals. I mean, people are gonna bag on me, right? I'm like, it wasn't great, but I was part of the MCU,
Yep.
so I enjoyed it for what it was. I also recognize as a 40-something-year-old man that technology has gotten to a point where they can do great things with live action movies. And I also recognize that I probably won't ever see, a full blown cinematic universe in the same capacity for Marvel. So it is what I'm getting. So I've accepted that with a lot of things, television, the movie. I do not believe there is an oversaturations of comic superhero movies. I think there's an attempt by a business to extend its market into untapped customer bases, and in doing so, some of those untapped customer bases don't care enough, so they don't buy in, and then you in fact lose some of your current customer base. Same thing happened with Star Wars, by trying to transition and adopt it to other consumers. So you lose some of your originating fans. I just enjoy it for what I can.
Yeah.
I would say I'm diehard when it comes to like MCU and Marvel and all that stuff. So I enjoy them, and specifically the Fantastic Four. I enjoyed the movie. I think it was good. I felt like I was able to just check out and enjoy a movie and watch it from start to finish, and I enjoyed it. Like no complaints. Superman, like I said, I despise DC 90% of the time, but I liked it. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It had
It's
enough.
surprising.
It had
It's
enough
surprising we're
action.
friends. You know.
So, I enjoyed it. Like it had enough humor, little callbacks, and little things that was sprinkled in throughout it that it was enjoyable. Like I typically, when I've seen Superman in the past, I've always felt it was very straight laced with a little less comedy to it. I think whoever ran it
James
what's the
Gunn.
guy's name? James
James.
Gunn. He's the
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I don't know. I know James Gunn has had some controversy around him over the years and stuff. Ignoring that aspect of it and just focusing on what he's done. I was not. I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were when that came out. When I saw the previews in a movie, I'm like, "What is this crap?" And this is going to be crap, and it's going to be the worst movie ever. And by far, it is like one of my top MCU top movies in general. It's one that I can rewatch a bunch of times. Some of my favorite characters are in those movies now, and I will say that I feel like he did a good job bringing that same approach and our artistic style to the DC movie. I am very much so looking forward to seeing what else he does with the DCU or whatever it's being
Yeah.
called at this point.
Yep. I did not see either one yet. My buddy Rob, who is a huge Superman fan, the Teflon 3,
Oh
absolutely
man, I'm sorry.
loved Superman. And Luke, my son, went and saw Fantastic Four with his buddies Friday night, I want to say, and he absolutely loved it. So yeah, all the feedback I'm hearing from both movies has been very positive. So
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a movie weekend for us with it being so hot out and stuff, and Sunday being a washout. We enjoyed the second movie. Like I said, I went out and saw Fantastic Four as soon as it came out. I ran out and watched it. Superman, my wife and daughter wanted to see it, and they actually said it was better than Fantastic Four, but they don't know what they're talking
I like
about.
your
So
wife.
there's that. That said, now we'll go into the main topic. I meant to cover that earlier, but now we're going to go into ToyLeet Takeover's main topic 58, I think, or episode 58, main topic here, the Mandela Effects in the toys. I already covered what it's going to be. We're going to be expanding, this, kind of diving into 5 significant moments, where the Mandela Effect has crossed into that toy space. It's not dead on. We're definitely going to be adjacent in some of this evening.
Yeah,
So roll with us and let's have some
we're
fun.
just here to have some fun. That's right.
Yeah. So I forgot to change that image out from last week. My apologies, people. I don't know how I messed that one up because I definitely made some changes. But that said, we're going to dive headfirst into the multiverse of memory tonight. It's the Mandela Effect, Mandela Madness. We're going to be counting down what I've perceived and what I found is kind of the top 5 toy related ish Mandela effects that may have broke your brains, right? Maybe you haven't thought about it. Maybe when you watch this, you're gonna be like, "No, I know that's not true, Travis," and I'm gonna be like, "No, you're wrong. This is as accurate as my GI Joe trivia." So back up, kid.
I was just gonna say Travis is
We're
never
gonna
wrong,
go for a
especially
ride.
in GI Joe trivia.
Hey, I got you. So that said, you know, Ed, do the Mandela effects, and it doesn't have to be just toys, right? It could be anything. It could be Jiffy peanut butter, right, or Jif peanut butter, whatever it's called. I don't even know at this point because of it. Do Mandela effects freak you out or fascinate you?
They don't freak me out. I like to research some of them because, like, the fruit of a loom cornucopia. I definitely remember the cornucopia as a child being in my T-shirts. So that one kind of, is like something I watch people freak out about. I'm more about the conspiracy of why it happens more than the actual thing, because I also remember Berenstain Bears, right? And
Yes, yes,
so, I mean, it's one of those things, right? But, they don't really freak me out. I'm not like, oh my God, I know this is, like some people get obsessed with it, right? Like that one
right.
lady with the Fruit of Looms cornucopia, she wrote the company and they sent her some picture of like all the trademark pictures that they've used. And then she ended up digging through like tons of people's like t-shirts and stuff. And she actually found a t-shirt with the cornucopia in it. And it was like,
Oh,
there,
okay.
I proved that wrong. So, some people really go
Yeah.
down a rabbit hole, but I like to hear about them. They're fun.
So for me, it's gone as far as like I've dug really deep on this stuff, like to the point where it's like, yeah, figure out how to use the app, guys. We go down these rabbit holes, right? and you're in like Alice in the Wonderland crap. And you're like, wait a minute, the world ended in 2012 and we deviated off and everything's broken. And like you can actually look and fact check that. And like there's like YouTube videos. And when I say fact check, it's not like really a fact. It's just there's other people that wear the tinfoil too. So go get your tinfoil, dig into it. Start with the Y files because like Hecklefish definitely knows his shit. So check that out. There's definitely some stuff about the Mandela effects in there, and then you can go even deeper and start to find out like which ones, when, why. Like, did the world explode back in 2012, and are we all living in a matrix? And you know they've tried to erase things or something glitched, and so,
Yeah, the
so that's how you get your
CERN
Mandela
collider put us into a different reality. Yeah,
effect. Exactly. What's the first one you ever noticed, Ed? And again, not toys, could be overall Mandela effects.
I really never even paid attention. I guess it's because I don't as much as I like old things, right? I don't like have such vivid memories of these things where it's like if I saw a Berenstain or a Berenstein book, right? Unless somebody pointed it out, I wouldn't even think about the fact that it was spelled differently. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
those kind of like things, like with the Monopoly dude wearing a monocle, right? It's just like, yeah. I know he had a monocle on some of the cards because that was just part of the game, but it wasn't like his identity, right? It wasn't like Mr. Peanut who always had a monocle on.
Yeah.
So
So
probably the first one I actually heard about though was the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia thing. That was probably the first one that when I first heard about it, I was like, wait a minute. No, it definitely had a cornucopia. So
So the first one I heard about, and it actually leads to the next question, which I'll ask you in a moment. It's led to numerous arguments. It's Shazam. Anybody know that one? Do you know that one, Ed? I'll talk about it a little bit.
I might have heard
Back
of it, but I'm
early
not.
'90s. You know the actor Sinbad, right?
Oh yes, the movie,
Yeah.
him being the
Yes.
genie. Yes, I
Yes.
remember that one.
Yes.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
So I remember that movie like distinctly. Like I can remember it so
Oh, me
unbelievably.
too, dude. Me too.
I actually feel like I remember it so much that I also remember the Kazam movie with Shaquille O'Neal back in like 93-ish roughly. I
Yeah.
actually kind of remember them both being out at the same time in my
Yep.
mind, that
Yep.
they actually both existed, but from everything I've seen, and that's the first one I was like, nah, hold on.
Yep.
Let's go down this rabbit hole again and dive into it a bit. And yeah, Shazam, I guess it didn't exist. Like
I
it
know.
wasn't there.
Uh,
I still
Real quick,
disagree.
I agree. I disagree too. I remember seeing Shazam. Just to clarify to GI Jetman, like Nelson Mandela, he's asking. So it's called the Mandela
Yes.
effect because so many people had a false memory of Nelson Mandela dying in
Dying
like
in prison.
late 80s in prison or something, and then
Yeah.
found out that he was still alive. So as Ian
Yeah.
was saying, that it did have something to tie with him. Yes, but
Yeah,
that's what
so
it was.
it was that's kind of like the original Mandela
Yep.
effect that people
Yeah.
distinctly and in mass recall believing or thinking that he had passed away while he was in prison,
Yeah.
in like South Africa. I don't know exactly where it was, but wherever it was in
I think though with famous people, you got to kind of excuse that because you know how many people that are like famous actors and stuff from the '80s and things that I remember. Then I see them like now, like in an interview or something. And I'm like, I could have swore that person passed away, in 2015 or something like that, right? 28, and it's like,
There are a few more recently that I actually do recall that with.
yeah,
I don't know the names. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I do recall seeing some of those and be like, I thought that person died a few years
yeah,
back. And then I look and they're like, oh yeah, Mandela effect. There you go.
yeah,
So yeah, with Mandela himself, that's where that comes from. GI
yeah.
Jet Man. I should have done a better job explaining the intro. I thought everybody that tuned in here was a magical twinkle, rabbit
Conspiracy
hole
theorist.
dive in. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
guy. Let me get my aluminum.
Not everyone's as crazy as we are. So
Right, right. So, have you ever had arguments over them? I don't know that I've had arguments, but I've definitely had disputes with people. Like, no, that Shazam movie, it existed.
yeah, I've had debates about like the legitimacy of stuff and whether it was real or not. Like some of them, like the one Ian just put in the thing, where he said, play it again,
I am your
Sam.
father.
Whoop, this one, play it again, Sam, or Luke, I am your father. Right. I think that is just a lot of just misquoting the movie, and it's just misquoted so many times that people just assume that's what it was. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's partially a
they,
Mandela effect, but I think it's more just a misquote of the movie so often that it becomes, reality, right? Um,
you say it so many times you believe it to be true.
right. Yeah, and you hear it like radio stations, could say like quoting the movie, oh yeah, and yeah, Vader said, "Luke, I'm your father." Well, no, really, that's not what he said. He said,
Yeah,
"No, I am your father." He didn't say, "Luke, I am your father."
and and in the real movie, he said, "I'm your father's brother's uncle's mother's cousin's
Right. Yeah.
third whatever." But
Yeah.
that's the real movie, so that's where it originally comes from. But we
Yeah.
won't go there.
Right. I know it's
Episode two.
Spaceballs. Yep.
Episode two. Um, that said, we're gonna be
And
diving
this
in a little
is
bit more to those.
Yeah, and Ian makes a good point here too that back in the day, right when all this stuff started, the internet wasn't really, like it is now, where you can just dive down any kind of hole you want to go down.
Yep. And on this slide, I kind of was covering a little bit more, right? It's collective memory glitches. It is named after Nelson Mandela's death, right?
Yep.
And kind of just to recap it, and man, I know we touched a little bit, but the Mandela effect is when a huge group of people all remember something one way. These people might not live in the same area, they may not have experienced it at the same time, but they all recall it a certain way and something specific. But it's actually a situation where it never actually happened that way. It is named after the belief that Mandela died in prison, which he didn't. It's the ultimate false memory phenomenon, and it hits toy collectors a little bit too, which is interesting. So, Ed, do you remember when you heard about the Mandela effect? I myself feel like I only heard about it in the last, I don't know, 7-8 years. I didn't
I
realize
heard
it was a
about
thing.
it. I heard about it maybe, yeah, a decade ago at the soonest. And it wasn't really until like the internet really got big, and people started putting out videos on YouTube about like crazy things like that, right?
Yeah. Awesome. So we kind of covered on that. Going into the first Mandela effect, number five, it's our favorite protocol droid. Everyone remembers CP3O as totally gold, but he's not.
You mean
He's got a silver
C3PO?
leg. What did I say?
CP3O.
Yeah, that's what I said. C3PO. Yeah. Sorry, I don't really pay attention to Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's a knockoff of my original. So, it is what it is. Yes, C3PO. Um, he's not right. He has a silver leg in A New Hope. It's wild, kind of how everyone, you know,
So the
even
biggest
some
reason
toys
for
miss
this,
it.
I can tell you what the biggest reason for this Mandela effect
Yeah.
is that all of us kids that grew up with Star Wars, they didn't make a silver legged C3PO action figure. He was a totally golden action figure when he first came out. And that's where it comes from.
So did the toy lines ever get it right, Ed?
Yes, eventually they got it right. And when they made him for the Fall Apart one in Return of the Jedi, they gave him a silver leg.
Okay. So that's what it is. Is everybody remembers the toys
Yep.
because that's the nostalgia of it, and that's the kicking off the toy
Yeah.
coverage
And
here,
most of
right?
us back
But in the
then, right,
movie,
we had the action figures before we even saw the movie, a lot of us, so it
a
was
lot
like,
of a lot of kids probably,
yeah.
yeah, probably weren't paying attention so much to the detail of it. And they had the toy, you're
Yep.
bouncing it around, you're throwing it, clanging it, banging it, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a silver leg until prepping for this show.
And I can tell
I
you,
thought he had all gold.
during the Star Wars A New Hope as a kid seeing it for the first time, it came out in 77, 78, and I saw it for the first time on cable television in 1980. And C3PO was the last person I was really paying attention to other than, his lines and stuff, right? I mean, like
Right.
you were fully focused on, Vader and the Stormtroopers and Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and, all the like, human characters that were just doing things that you never saw before, right? The droids back then were just kind of like background characters, comedy relief. So really focusing in on the fact that as a kid, 7 years old, that C3PO had a silver leg, not like the toy that had all golden legs, is wasn't a thing a lot of us were paying attention to.
Okay. That checks out. I mean, that makes sense why it would happen, right? It kind of causes a false memory because of the
Hmm.
fact that the toy was misrepresenting of the true to life movie.
Yeah,
So,
and the
you know,
problem is
since
like
they
even to this day, action figure companies get toys wrong because they get
right,
preliminary art and not the actual movie stills, and sometimes
yeah,
things get changed in the movies, and especially
I feel
back
like they
then,
did that
think
with
about
like
it,
the
right? They
Force
were probably
Awakens and
getting,
stuff now too.
they were probably getting colored pictures, that were colored by an actual human being, for their samples to make the characters based off of.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So up next, bringing in at number 4,
You're getting good with these buttons, dude.
the Monopoly Man. Not a toy, but we play games and they use board pieces, so the Monopoly Man. Rich, smug, and apparently monocle free. Yeah, that's right. He never had one. So you're probably thinking really hard, and you're thinking about it, but you're probably merging two memories in this one. You're probably merging Mr. Peanut from the cans of peanuts,
Yep.
and because that character similarly looks and kind of would
Yeah, he had the
potentially
top hat,
remind you of
and
these,
yeah,
they get cross referenced, causing another false memory.
yeah,
Bootleg toys and parodies made this one a stick hard though. So like
yep,
there were some things that were created on the secondary market that might have made people think that this character did have this monocle.
yeah.
Did you picture him with a monocle before learning this, Ed, or how
No,
would you see him?
I've always known that he didn't have a monocle, but there was one of like the chance or the community chess cards where he did wear a monocle, and I can't remember what it was for, whether it was like the accounting error or something. There was a monocle in one of them, but it was pertinent to the character he was being on that card, right?
Yeah.
But I've always known that he never had a monocle.
Oh,
Just
actually, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like a community chest or chance card, and I feel like I don't think it's necessarily a monocle as much as it's like a magnifying glass. And
yeah,
I
it's
feel like
probably a
he's looking at
magnifying
one of
glass.
his bills, and
Yep.
he found a discrepancy
Yeah, an error in your
with
favor or
his
something. Yeah.
tax inheritance.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I
Yeah.
think that's the one that I recall it on. I may be misremembering that and creating my own Mandela effect right
No,
now,
I
but I
believe it
feel
was
like
a
it's true.
magnifying glass, but it looked like a monocle, right?
Yeah, I could see that. And now, so now I want to take this another spin, right? So we have this one. And I looking at these pictures side by side instantly, I'm like, yeah, the one to the right without the monocle, that's what I remember.
Yep.
I could see in a quick passing the one with the monocle going, oh yeah, that I wouldn't be like that's not the Monopoly
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I could see why if that got passed around enough, folks might do it. And
Yeah. If
it's
somebody showed us
interesting.
to me and said this is a Monopoly guy, it was just like, here you go. I wouldn't even like that's such a small detail. I wouldn't even pay
Yeah,
attention. The fact that he had one or didn't have one, was just like, yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I feel like this is one that could slip under the radar a little bit, but
yeah, for
he
sure.
never had the monocle. You're probably thinking of Mr. Peanut, and there is some fake merch out there that I guess that does
Yeah.
reinforce it. So again, similar to the previous one, if it's manufactured in a certain way, even if the true to life thing, and the standard kind of trademarked and standard vision is one, you may mislead the masses.
Yep.
One thing I will say though, Ed, would it be interesting if Hasbro decided to kind of play a joke on us all and just start putting the monocle on them for shits and giggles? Because like, I
I
feel
mean,
like that would be like,
going
I
back
like
to
to
the
troll.
going back to the cornucopia and Fruit of the Loom, I'll tell you, like they sent out that thing that said there was never a cornucopia, and that girl found a T-shirt that had a cornucopia on it, right? From
Oh, did she?
1980, yeah, from
Oh
1980 or
man,
something, right? So it
I
might
think
have
she
been
found
some,
one of the.
it
I
might have
think
been
she found
something
one
that
of the
was so
shirts that didn't get
short
straight.
lived in their marketing campaign that they didn't even register, But it's like I
Gotcha.
remember the cornucopia. I remember it from commercials,
I
actually.
feel like I did too. I feel like I
Yeah.
did too. I feel like I saw it when I was a kid growing up at Christmas time every year because I
Oh
swear
yeah,
my grandma
that's what I said, right? They always had those like Fruit of the Loom commercials at Christmas
t-shirts.
time, and there was always a
Yeah.
cornucopia on the. It came out really big on the screen when those guys dressed
Yeah,
in the fruit like backed off into the background. They would turn into the tag, and they had a cornucopia.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yep.
I think it would be cool for Hasbro to introduce it and just start trolling people.
Oh, it'd be
Like
great.
it's always been that way, guys.
Yep.
Like I think that would be cool.
Start reversing the memory.
So
People like, no, 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 wait a minute, wait a minute.
bringing us to number 3. Pikachu's Blacktail.
Oh yeah.
So Pikachu, very well-known character. I mean, made a massive resurgence back in the 2015, 2016 timeframe when they had Pokemon Go massively change how people were using their phones and actually walking and moving and stuff. And then, the resurgence of Pokemon cards even heavier and harder than it ever was before during COVID and even now. You know, Pikachu's kind of always been one of the faces of that brand,
Yep.
if not the face when you think of Pokemon. He never had a black tip though on his tail. There was a lot of people remember it, and believe it or not, I'm one of those people that actually remembers the black tip on his tail for some reason. But he only had it on his ears, and many people remember him having the black tip. Again, some people have suggested maybe some knockoff toys or some lazy, cheap producing comic coloring books from childhood where maybe they just shadowed in a portion of the tail and printed it in black. So, Ed, did you ever? I don't know if Pokemon's probably a little bit after your time frame.
When I first heard about this, I was talking to Luke about it because Luke used to be,
Okay.
big into Pokemon cards, and it was his time. It was his age. It was perfect. And he was like, no, he never had the black tip. He remembers very vividly never having that black tip. So I was like, okay.
Interesting.
But I can see kind of, just in an art sense, why you'd want him to have the black tip, because most of the things we know, right? Like look at Snoopy. Snoopy's an all white dog, but he's got black ears and he's got a black nose and a black tip on his tail, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
things just kind of go together. It kind of ties it all together.
Yeah. It kind of it gives it like a triangular design where
Yeah.
you got the ears, you can connect it, and it just kind of buttons it up. Whereas on the one on the right, which is what he always has been, looks a little unfinished to me without that black tail,
Yep.
especially when you see him side by side.
And I think that's what happened like with coloring books, right? Because if you think about a coloring book, you got a character like Pikachu. There's really not a lot of line work on him, right? So you got basically like a yellow amoeba looking thing with a mouth and a nose and some, circles for his cheeks. It's like, okay, well, we got to do something to, kind of give this character some, character. So they, make the black tips on the ears, make the black tip on the tail. I could see where that would be easily, mistaken often.
Yeah, absolutely. Next. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to throw this one over to you for a second, Ed, to talk to. I've got my notes on it, but I'm not familiar enough with it. Kind of wish I had Oz or one of those guys from the Frenzy on right now, because number 2 is He-Man's chest symbol. Depending on who you ask, his chest symbol had a red cross, an H, or some techno-looking emblem. Variants across cartoons and toy waves just confused the heck out of everyone, though. So what version of the chest symbol do you remember, Ed?
I always remember it being red, but I always remember it being, I always thought it was an H. Maybe it could have been
That's
an
what
M, but I always thought of it being an H for He-Man. That's what I always thought.
That's
But of course, I always
consider-
thought the toy line was called He-Man too. I never knew it was called Masters of the Universe when I was a kid. So
Same here. So for me, and I'm trying to look around the room to see if I have one, but I don't have a good example. But to me, I remember it being red, like always.
Yep.
Obviously, we've seen newer, renditions of He-Man and Masters of the Universe over the last 10, 15 years. But thinking back to more of the legacy stuff, I actually didn't remember it being an H. I remember him having a red cross, like an iron cross almost on his chest. I don't remember him having, the letter H on there as a kid. So maybe that's just me. But that's one of the situations that I remember.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't a huge He-Man collector. I do remember it. I remember watching the
Yeah.
show, or the cartoon, and then I even remember watching the movie from the 80s or whatever. But I wasn't as close to as others. So that's kind of why I deferred to you. Would Do you think that this was a Mattel issue because they were changing and adjusting it as they've built it and produced it, and the manufacturers have changed it over the years, or do you think it's just fan brain fog?
I think there was a lot of different chest rigs and chest symbols and like let's here's Brick. He's the man, right?
There you go.
100% started with the Iron Cross looking one, which has roots to the old Prussian kingdom and later used by the Nazi military and still embraced by those types. So it did start out with the Iron Cross. I don't remember the Iron Cross, but
Okay.
I didn't have He Man when I was a kid. He Man, I mean, I was that was right at the tail end of my toy like play stuff. My cousin had He Man, and I think the first He Man I actually really saw was the battle armor one, which I believe had a red H on it.
Okay.
Okay, so Brick's saying they changed to the H for a number of reasons, including the association, but the main reason is that they couldn't copyright the Iron Cross since it existed before. They couldn't own it. Okay, well that makes sense.
Makes sense.
And the H is more proprietary and can be copyrighted. Okay, well that makes sense. Thanks, Brick.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Brickman.
So while we're on the chat, let's just pop in here real
Yeah. Why don't
quick
we grab some of those real quick?
before we hit number one. Menhoza's here. What's up, Menhoza? And our buddy John Emerald Knight Photo saying, "What's up, dudes?" Whoa,
I'm getting good.
he gets an air horn. And Brickster, as we saw, was here. He's saying hello, late. What's up, guys? Ian saying,
Oh, way too
I'm
much
really,
fun.
I'm really glad I have significant gaps in my cultural knowledge. Case in point, knowing anything about Pikachu beyond being the yellow one for Pokemon. Yeah, that's
So,
where I only know Pikachu and Pokemon stuff because my kids were heavily into it. Outside of that, I mean,
so there's a YouTube video out there. Who was that just said that?
Ian did.
There is a YouTube video out there with a guy naming the Pokemon by the wrong name. Just type in guy naming Pokemon by the wrong name. It's about 38 seconds long, but it is hysterical. Like the names they have and the characters, what they call them, and they're playing Pokemon Go, and it's good.
When
Yeah, it's very amusing.
my second oldest daughter, Isabel, and my son, Luke, were both very big into Pokemon. We watched the cartoon, and, Luke being the kid that he was, it was, hey, Dad, this is Pikachu, and this is what he does when he turns into this, and this is, all the
Yep.
other guys, right?
Raichu
Squirtle and
and
all those guys, right? And it was like, okay,
yep.
I won't remember any of this, but I know that Squirtle looks like a turtle and Pikachu looks like a possessed Winnie the Pooh.
Yep.
Brick saying Mandela Effect. I remember this channel being called Action Figs, Mystery, the Universe. Yeah, we talk about it all here, Brickster. You know that. We talk about Sasquatch and all sorts of fun stuff.
I mean,
And,
articulated what was it, a highly articulated commented the other day, and he was like, I'm pretty sure we've seen this one already, and I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, maybe. So,
And Terrence's next toys here. What's up, Terrence? Good
what's
to
up,
see you,
dude?
brother.
He and I gotta talk because he wants me to do that other show at some point, and I
Oh
love
yeah.
talking Spiro, so we'll definitely have to get in
I'm
touch.
a universe where things that are happening here weren't possible. But I'm here now, so I get it, man.
Yeah,
We
that
all got
checked out.
places to be and other things to do, and it's all good.
Thank
All
you for
right,
jumping
we're
on,
caught
brother.
up with the chat, man. Yeah, thanks for stopping in, guys.
Okay, sweet. Okay, cool. So with the
Fairy Twinkle.
Mysteries of the World. Number one, Bernstein versus Berenstein Bears. There were some toys. There wasn't a ton of them. They were, like there were some McDonald's ones. There was some other very generic toys and stuff. But at number one, this is a huge one, and this crosses over a ton of childhood stuff for folks that are around my age. Believe it or not, this is like one of my favorite childhood books. I loved reading these to my own kids. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she actually bought all of these books for me as a kid, and then went and bought every one of them for my oldest, and then went and bought every one of them again,
I was a
and then
huge
everyone for
Beren,
my youngest.
I was a huge Berenstein Bears fan when I was a kid. Right, had all the books, watched all the cartoon specials that would come on TV, and I know it was Berenstein, not Berenstain. I know it.
No, we were just reading it all wrong the entire time. We watched it wrong. Maybe we lived in the wrong timeline. I think what
No,
happened is, Ed,
even
I think
Terrence
somewhere
knows
in
it
the
was
90s.
Berenstein.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the 90s we did one of these and like they scrubbed it from existence, just like the cornucopia. I didn't do any more research to look about toys and see about the toys because it's a very niche amount of toys, that they actually produced for it. But I often want to go back and look and see if those contained that raw spelling, right? The original spelling, as we refer to it.
Yeah, I think some
Um,
lady was looking. I think it was maybe it was a young guy. Not young, but younger than me, of course, because I'm old as dirt. God said, "Let there be light," and I flipped the switch. That's how I feel most days. So, but he was digging like in all sorts of like antique bookstores and stuff, trying to find like Berenstein Bears book from 70s, when they first were starting to come out, or 60s, whenever it was, and he was having a hard time finding them.
yeah, I mean, I don't know the toys. They didn't. I don't feel like there was a lot of toys when I was a kid. When I looked on eBay, and I saw some stuff, a lot of stuffed animal things, and
Yeah, there were stuffed
I know.
animals when I was a kid, but they were very, very limited. When my kids were little, and probably your son at least, there was the Berenstain Bears cartoon, and I don't remember how it
Yep,
was spelled during that cartoon. And there were some
I feel like it
toys.
was the same way I
There were some
remember.
like little
It was like
plastic
rubber.
statue toys and stuff back then, but not very
Yep,
many of them.
like bathtub toys and things
Yeah,
like
yep,
that, like that
yeah,
type of stuff for
yep,
very young
exactly.
children, almost like the Arthur cartoon
Yep,
stuff.
yep, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, this one still bugs me because I think they're wrong.
This one definitely is wrong. This one is definitely a true Mandela effect where they're just screwing with the timeline or something. CERN
I
messed
just
it up.
chalk this one up. They wanted to scrub it for whatever reason.
Yep.
I think there's a glitch in the matrix. I think it hits in 2012, and I tell you to go dig down that rabbit hole after our show ends tonight because you guys will have a crap ton of fun, and you can come back to the comments of this and go, Travis, why did you send me this? It's now it's now Tuesday of next week, and I'm just now getting out of the rabbit hole you sent me into.
Yeah.
So that that covers the top five that we found. There's a ton of other ones out there. We talked about
Yeah.
some of the ones that are non-toy related that we remembered.
One of the
So
biggest
I
toy
want to hear
related
from.
ones that I know
Go for it.
of is the Britney Spears doll when she's in her red outfit from her one video. And the doll comes with a headphone, right? Like one of the ones, like the earpiece with the microphone that they wear on
Yeah.
stage so they can dance. And all the Halloween costumes that were out for that costume also had the thing, but she actually never wore it in the video.
Oh, I haven't
So
heard
it's a
that one.
Mandela effect of
Written down.
whether she actually had it or was it just something people remember because all the properties that were like all the materials, the um, Halloween costumes and dolls and stuff all had that. So
Huh. I didn't know that. I didn't know that one. So there's a ton of them out there. The
oh
chat
yeah,
I know is
hundreds.
we've talked about a couple. Um, what we want to hear from the audience, right? What toy memories did you swear were real but turned out to be false, or even just general Mandela effects? Drop them in the chat, comment, or scream them into the void where all of our wonderful memories live and exist, and the cornucopia hides, and the Bernstein bears hide.
Yes.
Lead-in question for you, Ed, though, is what honorable mention besides the Britney Spears one would you like to hit on?
For toys As toy related, there's probably not.
Crossover, it can be adjacent.
There's probably not anything other than that, really, that I can recall from toys. I said a lot of these Mandela effects are such minor details that I never focused on. It was like, I mean, like I was never wrapped up in lore, and I mean, my whole head canon was just all I lived in, right? So it was, it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I have one. I just don't know how to make myself the center of attention here. Oh no,
Gotta
I
stop
don't
sharing.
remember that. Oh, hold on. I'll talk you through it here, Ed. I remember a major one. It's toy adjacent. I remember as a kid growing up how Batman was a bad guy. He was a horrible individual who did horrible things. Sorry, Ed. Sorry.
Ah,
Um,
you're just
yeah,
full
no,
of it
no,
tonight,
I
man.
kid. I kid. Yeah. So what's your theory? A bad memory? Alternative
I
timeline.
think there's a couple. I think there's some that is just people mistaking things. Could be, like you said, with people making coloring books or marketing materials and stuff that are just wrong, and so many people see it so often that it just becomes a false memory. Um, the thing like C3PO's leg, right? So many of us had the C3PO action figure before we ever saw the movie, and we never paid attention to his legs, right? We just assumed he was all gold. So it's one of those things you
Yeah.
miss. Then there's things like the Berenstein Bears that I swear is 100% a true, like somebody fucked with the timeline, just like the cornucopia for
Shazam.
Shazam, right? I
That's
know the Shazam
Shazam
movie.
for me. That's
Yep.
one for me, man.
I know
That's
the
one I'll
Shazam
never let
movie
go.
existed, dude. I know 100%. So I think there's two
Absolutely.
things that happen. I think some of it is just, like the movie lines, right? Getting misquoted so often that they just become part of pop culture. Uh,
Yeah.
Things like the C3PO or Pikachu, right? Where it's drawn wrong for whatever reason and people
Right.
just get used to seeing it that way. And then there's real ones that are just like, okay, CERN totally blew something up, or the planet got too close to the sun one day and messed up the magnetic poles or some crazy nonsense, right?
Or the Graylians, came down
Right.
and messed with the
Yeah.
timeline. That's what I think
Exactly.
happened.
Or like that
Um,
conspiracy Thursday about or conspiracy theory about Thursday. There's always, everything is always next Thursday. So the world resets every Thursday. Have you ever seen that conspiracy theory?
nope, but I'm digging in. I'm digging in. That sounds interesting to
Yeah.
me. That is right down my. That's right down my.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of things. I think there's a lot of them that I think the Mr. Peanut and the Monocle Man,
Yeah.
the Monopoly Man with the monocle. I think it's like we've meshed memories and kind of
Hmm.
congealed them just based on like times and experiences. And then there's the ones like the Berenstein Bears and the Shazam that I absolutely cold heartedly factually nobody could tell me differently. um I won't deny that they're real. Like, I don't care, I don't believe it, I don't think it's possible though.
Yeah.
The Shazam one and the Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal and stuff and Sinbad, maybe it was just like two movies that were out around the same time and I just remember it. But that Shazam one, I don't think
Something
I
that's
think I can let that
interesting to
one go.
think about, though. I wonder if we move into the future, if we'll have less Mandela effects that are triggered by like you were talking about with the Mr. Peanut and Mr. Monopoly merging, right? Because you don't have ads and stuff like you used to. You know what I mean? So kids won't be seeing that. Like I remember being a kid and it was constantly Mr. Peanut dancing across the stage, and then it'd be a Monopoly commercial right away, or something like that, right? It was just constantly watching commercials, and we had to watch them back then. We didn't have a fast forward button. You didn't have a way to just not watch the ads. So you watched them, and you were always hoping
And there's
some
things
cool
out
toy
there.
commercial would come on, right? So it was like,
Yeah. And were we really even paying attention? Maybe. Who knows?
right, well, that's
Try
exactly
to
it,
think
right?
with a
You
toy.
were half paying attention, right?
Right. I actually, if that's the case, then I feel like we would have more of them now because so often people are just swiping on their phones and
Yeah.
doing other things at the same time. So I feel like
That's what I'm
it's
saying, right?
slowly awakening
Are we going to
people
have
to that.
more? Are we going to have less? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah.
Let's run through the
Oh,
chats. So Jetman has a question for you, Travis. Have you seen the Savage Crucible Dungeon playset? Which I can answer for you. Yes, he
I
did because he
did.
sent it to me.
I did.
Uh, he's going to get one and use it for Crocmaster and his crocodile. So that's awesome.
Okay.
That's an awesome
That'll
use
be
for
cool.
that, man. Um,
Yeah.
and Ian saying he's never heard of this property, which was when we were talking about the Berenstein Bears. I
I
guess
did
that's
see that. Yeah.
maybe it's just USA or North America type thing because I know they're in
Maybe.
Canada. The most important question about the Mandela effect is: do you think we are from separate realities that sometimes fold into each other, or is it mass hysteria or bad memory? I believe, Terrence, to answer that question, that there is multiple realities, and I believe 100% that we have bounced into each other and things have changed for whatever reason. I'm not sure how it happens, but I believe it. And then there are a lot of them that are just smashed together memories and people misquoting or misusing art and properties and stuff that just become whatever. And Black Knight's here. What's up, Black Knight?
Boom.
And let's see. Brick is saying it's the
You know,
proof of a scientific known human memory is garbage. Yes, and very susceptible to being stubborn about what we misremember or misunderstand. I know, Debbie Downer. Yeah, just throw out science, Brick. Fuck you and your science, Brick. The Fruit of the Loom, Berenstain Bears things have always messed me up. Yes.
what about Shazam, Brick? What about Shazam? I haven't seen you talk about Shazam. Shazam's real.
Ian,
That's
the
that.
jet firing Boba Fett was a real thing. It was only very short lived and never
They
really.
just pulled it, right?
Yeah, they pulled it.
Because somebody died choked on the blaster piece, right?
And he could have sworn the Filmation He-Man cartoon was good. Turns out, in this timeline, it sucks and is a hard watch. Yeah, it's hard to watch some of those cartoons. Even I struggle with He-Man and GI Joe nowadays.
I'm gonna have to go and see if there's any pro wrestling Mandela effects now. See if I have
Briscoe,
anyone
what's
to
up,
argue
Briscoe?
with. That said, I think the biggest takeaway here is there's an entire opportunity to produce a toy line, the ToyLeet Mandela Effect edition, and like I can create the Berenstein Bears because they're not taken,
Yeah,
allegedly. Not in this timeline, they're not.
right.
And the monocle Monopoly Man, the not taken. The Barbie or the Britney Spears, and
Yeah,
I'll give her a whole bunch of tattoos and head shaved now too,
yeah. Rick makes a good
along
point
with
here, real
whatever
quick.
else.
We have plenty of people out there trying to make Mandela effects happen on purpose these days, disinformation, etc. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on the internet that kind of, makes things, you know, uh, very hard to believe. Like that's how I feel about like the Sasquatch thing, right? There's so many people out there making fake videos of Sasquatch aliens
Well,
or
AI and stuff's going to be even harder.
well, that's exactly it, right? So it's hard to like trust anything that you're seeing now, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Shockmaster
uh,
was never a
yep,
main eventer,
we're gonna
though.
actually need some tattooed historians. Absolutely, Brick. That's gonna be something we need because you can't change that.
Though I am, there is a toy show in the area that is going to be in my area in
Science,
October or November,
bitches.
and there is there's a toy show, and I believe they're gonna have the guy that played the Shockmaster in WCW. I think he's gonna be there for the show. Makes me want to try to find the Shockmaster figure and see if I can get an autograph by him because that would be cool.
I have to laugh about this. Brick says that his kid just said, "Yeah, Brick," and that was in response to me saying, "Fuck your science." Sorry, Brick. Uh, sometimes.
That's awesome. So that said, that brings us to the wrap up of the show for this week's main topic. Before we close up, we have I didn't have create a slide yet because I was just finalizing next week's show. I'll do my best to explain it, and then I'll let Ed explain it way more accurately than me. But next week we'll be covering, what was it again, Ed?
Shit, dude, I don't remember. You told
It
me
was good.
yeah, it was good.
It
Do you
was
remember what
good.
it was? What the hell was it?
Oh, adult collectors. They're the only ones.
Ah, yes,
And
yes.
how do we ensure that it doesn't live and die with us, right? And it continues to go on,
Well,
because
you should
there was
specify adult toy collectors,
adult
right?
collectors, right? Adult toy collectors
Yeah,
have kind of, from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing and seeing on the web today and yesterday, is
yeah.
that they are now officially, the main consumer of collectibles, the
Yeah.
toy collectibles, this hobby.
You know, the
And
thing
how
is,
do we ensure that we're not the last of them?
yeah, we'll talk about this next week. But
Yeah,
I think a lot
save
of it
it.
I think a lot of it has to do with the actual companies themselves too. So, but we'll save it. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
a good topic. So we'll be talking about
Yeah.
adult collectors and how they've taken over the collectors market officially, scientifically for brick's sake, and how we can move things back to the younger generation and make them be collectors as well. So shit stays real.
Yeah.
uh, Real quick, Briscoe has Berenstain Bears is definitely real. The Kazam one was never a Mandela effect for me though, because I remember seeing that trailer all the time and saying it looked like Frog. I agree, brother. I agree. And Terrence says he doesn't collect adult toys. All right. Good to know,
My goal
Terrence.
is to give us that PO box, Terrence, and we'll make sure every person sends you some now.
Yes.
It'll
Talk
be
about a
like it'll
thousand
be like
twigs,
the
you'll have 1,000 something.
actually, we could have some fun with this. We just got to get our subs up,
That's
and maybe
right.
we could partner with the Hella Dope Toys group, um, and maybe we can do what they did for the Jericho TV show, where fans wanted it back, so they bombarded the network with bags of peanuts because it was a subtle reference from the show the first season. So we'll just do the same thing for Terrence, and we'll just mass mail him that stuff. Have fun, Terrence.
Yeah, from like what Brick's saying here, right? I heard that adult toys are kind of like the 4-H, Mythic Legions figures. Once you buy one, you just got to have them all, right? So I mean,
So they're like Pokemon.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
Um,
get with those Hella Grope guys because they got a good collection started.
yeah, yeah. They got that other channel.
Yep.
Um, that said, it's Wednesday this week. We will be back next Tuesday, officially back on our regular channel, regular
Yes.
time.
We'll be
So you'll
back to
get
the
us
same
back
bat
next
time,
Tuesday
same bat
night.
channel.
Actually, what's next week? What's the schedule? I gotta look at the
Next
calendar.
week is like the 5th. Next Tuesday
Yeah,
is
so
the
it's the
5th.
5th.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll work. I just want to double check, make sure there wasn't life going on. So yes, we will. We'll be back next Tuesday. But before then, Ed, I'm sure folks can catch you on some other channels.
Oh, I'll be around, And this Saturday, I'll actually be back on the clubhouse. I was on last Saturday morning. Oz did his 24-hour SDCC stream. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend this year, other than for a couple hours in the morning. I had something already planned. I told Oz about it back in like May or something. We were talking about it. I was like, man, I think that's the weekend I'm going to be gone for the night. And it was, but he had enough friends and enough people to help him out. So it worked out well. But I'll be back on Clubhouse Saturday, hanging out with Punk and Rad Nom and Hella Dope guys and all that before next Tuesday. So
Awesome, awesome. I'm not gonna be probably on much this next week other than Tuesday. I will likely be in our chats on some of the more common ones. What did he just say about that? Fun stuff, guys. Random for Travis. I finally opened a Wave 2 Savage Crucible a few hours ago. Miles more enjoyable to me than the Wave 1s. Excellent figs. They fixed the Butterfly 2. Doesn't pop. Yeah, man. It is those
yep.
Savages, dude. They're ridiculous. They're awesome. Very, very pumped. STD coverage. Is that covered by your insurance? Just checking.
Yes. Yeah. That's why it's this week.
Okay.
It kicks in this week for that. Nolan, we didn't have a long weekend. So, it was a long weekend, but it wasn't like a extra day off or anything. So,
Unfortunately, the post that Black Knight just posted on there, the SummerSlam I did want to go to. I really wanted to be there for that. Unfortunately, with the loss or the changing of jobs for myself, and then with my wife, her position being eliminated also at the end of June, I got to kind of pinch pennies on those ones for now. I would have really liked to be at SummerSlam this weekend. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. I will be watching it live at home with the boys.
I was gonna say, having the boys come over,
watch it.
or the boys down in the living room with you.
My sons will be there. My brother-in-law is going to come over.
Nice.
So there'll be a few of us hanging out, make some buffalo chicken dip, and watch some SummerSlam. I probably do have some time, Black Knight, later this week if you want to get together. I'm relocating the office to the dungeon.
I got to tell you, there was this channel that came out like a ball of fire. All this, we're going to slap some wrestling videos up, and they done 2, and it's been disappointing since then. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what these 2 guys are doing.
I'm down for it.
But I tell you.
I'm down for it, Aaron. We can definitely jump on. You let me know, brother. Send me a message. You know my number.
Ted and I from Hello Dope Toys have created the Ed and Ted Talk Sports Ball channel. So we'll be starting to put videos up on that as often as you guys put wrestling videos up.
Yeah, but what do you guys talk about? Because
sports ball.
What kind of sports ball?
All of it.
Like sports ball?
Sports ball, exactly. Aaron knows. Ain't no way Ted's talking sports ball.
Is it ETTSB? Ted Talk Sports Ball?
Sports Ball. Yep, exactly what it is.
I'll create a logo. I'll get you spun
All right.
up. I'll get you an intro theme and everything.
Perfect.
Absolutely. That said, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
For all you. Using these cool things, so stay wonderful, folks.
It's the ToyLeet crew. From Max and Stacks to Toy Vendor, yeah, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet, we set the pace. Elite with the heat in this plastic race. ToyLeet, not just a name. We're the culture, the vibe, the collecting flame. Click, snap, pose, it's more than display. We stack with style, redefining play. Custom builds, epic drops, from stream to shelf, we never stop. ToyLeet, it's not just toys, it's legacy we stack. ToyLeet's the movement, and we're never looking back.